Hello friends, neighbors, John your whiskey neighbor here, and welcome to the Nook. I know I've been shooting a lot of sherry scotch lately, but I think it's time to take a bit of a break and shoot some bourbon. And today I have a bourbon that's sourced by the Gold Bar Company. It's released at Cask strength. I don't know enough about it, but there's some information on here that we can talk about and think about as we try it. So this is Rickhouse by Gold Bar, or the Gold Bar Bottle Company. It's out of San Francisco. It says it's cask strength, but it's only 51.5%. So if you have any bourbon or any straight bourbon or any straight bourbon, cask strength bourbon, why don't you pour a little bit? When we come back, I'll talk about this, sourced bourbon by the Gold Bar Bottling Company. Come on back. 3, 4. Thanks for finding your way back. Hopefully you poured something, and these will just be, really tasting thoughts. I don't know enough about the Gold Bar Bottling Company. I know that they have kind of suddenly appeared in my market. So when I say suddenly, I mean they have the whiskey that's in what looks like a Gold Bar, and they have this Rickhouse. Now this says on the back, not sourced, it said, what did it say? Assembled or, I can't even remember. I'll put it down below, but basically clearly telling that although they are their own distillery, this is sourced whiskey. It's 80% corn and 20% rye. It's labeled as straight, so it's at least 2 years, could be older. As I said, it says cask strength, but it's only 51.5%. And right on the label and a few other places it says, it's been aged, or does it say finished? I can't remember now if it's aged or finished in with French oak staves. So French oak staves, regular bourbon aging, 80 corn, 20 rye. So actually there's a fair amount of information on here. Why don't we just try the whiskey a little bit? See how it goes, nose and taste. This is a little bit of a hot whiskey. The nose has, it's got a little bit of light vanilla, a little bit of sweet caramel, but right away for me, it has a fair amount of pine resin. So it's got, a fair amount of oaking on it, but it even comes up in the nose, a little bit of like that pine wood smell. Fairly woody on the nose. There's some sweetness and some kind of toasted vanilla, a little marshmallow, like there's some sweetness there. But it plays into that pine resin pretty quick for me. Let's try it on the palate. Cheers. There's a sweetness to it. As I said, like a burnt charred marshmallow. I like that. But all kinds of oak. Whether it's the French oak staves or something else about the oaking, I find this very tannic, very woody. There's a little hot cinnamon, and I said there's kind of a nice interplay of some burnt sugars and some sweetness, but I'll give it another sip here. Cheers. Well, on second sip in, now that you're letting it kind of talk, there are some of those interesting flavors, some nice heavy oak tannins, some nice char, some nice sweetness. I'm staying with that thought. I don't know why, that charred marshmallow, which I love sitting around a campfire, but very oaky, pine resinous, bitter, that kind of thing. This was kind of found and bought for me by a good friend, and so it's not their whiskey, so I can say this, but I'm struggling with this one a lot. I looked it up online. I read what I could. And I saw it got double gold at San Francisco Spirits, which is a great, internationally known spirit competition. But this is hot and resiny and piney and bitter. It's actually one of the poorest bourbons I've had in a while, just for my palate. There's a lot of oaking going on here, a lot of that French oak forward, a little nutty, rye spice maybe, crackback pepper. It certainly is burning my tongue. But I just like this sits at sub 3. It's like 2 3/4 star, 2.5 even. It really, maybe it's going to get better. I have had it open for a few months. I have been trying little sips. It does, when you're really looking for a lot of oak in a cocktail, it actually goes okay in a cocktail. I have tried a few different ones and it's okay. It doesn't overpower as much as I was worried about. So I think that's where this bottle's going to go, which is kind of too bad because at a cask strength straight bourbon, I'm hoping to get some good sipping value, bit of splash of water, that kind of thing, but it just didn't work for me. So, for cask strength, 51.5 is a little bit low. And when I was thinking about what should I compare it to, I thought, well, I had on the shelf the Old Forester 1897 Bald & Bond. Now, I know that's only 50%, but 50, 51.5, I'm like, that's actually pretty close. And we've got a similar rye, right? We've got about 18%, but there's 10% malted barley, so they must take that out of the corn, so 72 corn, 18 rye, and 10% malted barley. Of course, Bald & Bond is for sure at least 4 years, so I think it's going to be older. But let's see what this Old Forester Bald & Bond, and they were both very similar price, right around, that's kind of that $60, $60, $65 range, I think, or even higher, 69, playing in the 60s Canadian. But anyway, let's talk bourbon. Old Forester 1897. I have not said this about Old Forester, but in compared to the dry, oaky, spicy here, there's some fruit, like a cut fruit, like almost a cut apple, which I have not mentioned on this. More rich sweetness. Now the sweetness is into that maraschino cherry. So take some of that fruit and now maybe like a maraschino cherry sweetness, a little bit of spice. Yeah, and a little bit of vanilla in the background, just in comparison here. Well, the nose isn't as bad now. Lots and lots of oak and vanilla. 1897 on the palate. Cheers. Nice depth of flavor. A little spicy. That kind of came up unexpectedly. A little cracked pepper, a little hot cinnamon. But again, I've got that cream caramel, high vanilla sweetness, and I almost got a whiff of chocolate in there, which actually I think is an oak, but not in your face stave oak here. It's something else. Try another sip. Cheers. For some reason, I thought Mars bar, which is too sweet, but a real interplay of a little bit of nut, some oak, high sweetness, and it just for some reason today, and I haven't said that before, but there's some cut fruit and a little bit of chocolate in there, which is really high praise. I've enjoyed 1897, but it hasn't been a runaway favorite for me. I have a lot of other Bald & Bonds that I would go to, but as I said, I had it on the shelf, and I thought, 50, 51 is pretty good. It's right here. Let's go. Let's shoot. Look, it's tough when I come across a whiskey that just doesn't agree with me. And when I go to an external source like San Francisco Spirits and I see that something that's got double gold, which means for some people, it must align with their taste notes, with what they're looking for in a bourbon. For me, this pushed far too much into resinous oak, which turned it bitter and kept me from experiencing some of the other flavors, which every now and then raise their head and like, hey, we got some other stuff. Ultimately, we're flattened out by that, and I just couldn't get past it. I'm really not enjoying this bottle very much. The 1897 is good, and in this comparison, it's kind of great. In the past, I think I've said like 3 3/4. Like, it's good, but it's not as good as some of the other Bald & Bond I have. But in this sitting, it's fantastic. So thanks for joining me here. I hope you're having a great holiday weekend. I'm about to go celebrate the 18th birthday of my daughter, which in our market means we can go to the bar. So, we're going out for dinner, we're having a lot of fun, and then the whole family is actually going to go to, like I said, no, we got to go to a bar, like stand-up bar, like, and order something because I just think that's a lot of fun. Anyways, you guys, thanks for joining me here, and I hope you're having a good weekend and a great work week ahead. Take care.